Hello, Year 4s, and welcome to your next comprehension lesson. You will notice that in the previous few lessons, we've been looking at life in Rome, so how Rome started, or the beginning of Rome, and then we also looked at the emperors of Rome. And in today's lesson, we will be looking at the legions. So the legions were the soldiers and the armies during the Roman times. What I would like you to do is pause the video now and read through the text that's on this page, and then I will read it with you when you are finished. So pause it now and give it a read. Right, so today we're going to be looking at the legions. So the Roman army was a powerful fighting force, and it was made up of well-trained professional foot soldiers called legionaries. Each legion consisted of about 5,000 soldiers who were organized into smaller fighting units called centuries. In the 2nd century CE, there were 150,000 legionaries in the Roman army. Modern replicas of legionary equipment are shown on this page. So now we're going to look at some of the equipment that the legionnaires would have used when they were part of the army, what they would wear, what they looked like. So we'll start from the top here and we'll move around. So the crest. This is the crest here. Centurions and other officers wore crested helmets so that their men could see them in battle. So this better helped the army to see their leaders in the battle. The crest shown in position, but it's not attached. So this is where the crest would have been when it was attached. Head protector. This helmet was designed to protect the head, the face, and the neck without blocking the vision or the hearing. So you can see that there's a little gap on the side so you can hear, and there's also a gap in the front. Well, it's down here, so in the front so they can see out. Metal jacket. Body armor was made of metal strips that were held by leather straps on the inside. It was heavy but flexible, and soldiers had to help each other to put it on. So they weren't able to put it on themselves. They had to help each other put it on. Tunic. A tunic is a coarse wooden tunic was worn under the armor. So a tunic would have gone underneath the armor itself. That red bit that you see here is a tunic. In later times, Roman soldiers wore short breeches under their tunics as well. Rome's Capitoline Hill survived capture by the Gauls in 390 BCE when sacred geese woke up the sleeping soldiers. So that's just a little bit of extra information that you can have. Then, belting up. The patelas, or belt, was the soldier's badge of office. So worn with the tunic at all times, the decorated leather strips gave the extra protection in battle. So they would have hung down this bit here, and this would have gone around their waist. So the heavy pendants weighed the strips down. Right, we're going to look at these javelins. So the long point of the pilum designed to pierce the enemy's shield, that was there. So this javelin, the spear on the far left, so this one here, was replaced by the heavy javelin or pilum, which is on the left. A shower of these flying through the air would break the enemy's charge. So the javelin was thrown up through the air, and then it would have come down on the enemy and would hopefully break their charge while they were running. Boots. Military sandals were strong and well ventilated with patterns of iron hobnails, specially designed to survive miles of marching. So that was underneath, and you can see it's designed so they can carry on marching for miles, because we knew that the soldiers had to march many, many miles. They were foot soldiers. They walked a lot. Each legionary carried a pack which held a toolkit. Let's put it down so you can see a toolkit and a dish and a pan. The pack weighed more than 40 kgs or more and often had to be carried up to 30 kilometers in a day. So imagine carrying 30 kilometers while you're walking with 40 kgs on your back. Soldiers were called Marius's mules after the general who introduced the pack. So this is Marius's mule. They were called that because obviously they then had to carry all of that. So this is a woolen cloak that would have been kept to keep them warm. They would have had a leather bottle for water or wine. And then they would have had these tools, these swords to use in battle. The sword grips were made of wood, although bone and ivory could also have been used. So they would have possibly used animal bone or ivory tusks from animals as well to create the bone. And a dagger had a double-edged blade. So it was double-edged, it was sharp on two sides. If we look here, the pack here was for personal items and rations for 3 days. Sword and dagger. A pugia or dagger was worn on the left. So the dagger was worn on the left-hand side, and the gladius or the short sword was worn on the right-hand side. The sword was a terrible stabbing weapon, short enough to wield easily in the crush of battle. So the idea of the sword was that you could then obviously wield it in battle, and it wasn't as long as things like the javelin, which were quite difficult to then handle in battle. You could, and they were double-edged, so they were quite lethal. Okay, so we've read through that. Now, when you're doing your comprehensions, what you should always do is read the text first, then read the questions and think back to what you've been reading, and then go back to the text and highlight information that you think is important, and then answer the questions. So let's go through the questions together. Using information from the text, put a tick in the correct box to show whether each statement is true or false. So you're going to tick either true or false for each one of these statements. All those in the Roman armor wore boots. Daggers were worn on the left, and this should say while short swords were worn on the right. The soldiers were able to put their own body armor on. The Romans wore jumpers under their armor. Okay, look at the javelin paragraph. Find and copy a group of words that tell you that the javelins were being thrown. So how do you know that they were thrown through the air? Question 3. According to the text, by the 2nd century, approximately how many legionaries were there in the Roman army? Question 4. Which of the following would be the most suitable summary of the text that we've just read? So that whole page, what would be a suitable summary for what we've just read? All about the soldiers in the Roman army, all about ancient Rome, what the Romans ate, or all about the Roman clothing. And your question says to tick 1. So choose one of those that you think would summarize what we've just read. And question 5, using information from the text, tick 1 box in each row to show whether each statement is a fact or an opinion. So remember, a fact is truth and something that is, there's no, you don't, it either is or it isn't. An opinion is something that I think. So fact is something we know is, it's definitely this, and an opinion is I think. So if I said to you, red is a color, that is a fact. Red is a color. But if I said to you, red is the best color, that's my opinion. It may not be the best color for you. Your favorite color could be blue. So that is an opinion. So the fact of saying that something is definitely this, or we know that it was this, is the fact. Whereas if we say it's opinion, it's what you think or what I think or what somebody else thinks. So the Roman army was the strongest army in the world. Is that a fact or an opinion? The Roman army was a powerful fighting force and was made up of well-trained professional soldiers. Fact or opinion? Their armor was designed for battle and still allowed them to hear, see, and move about. Is that a fact or an opinion? Once you've read through these questions, I would like you to go back, have a read through this, and see if you can start finding the answers within the text. Don't forget to share this with us on Tapestry. Make sure to put your answers up on Tapestry so that we can see them. Please make sure when you're answering those questions that you have read through the text yourself and then answered the questions. Make sure you are understanding what the question is asking you and make sure that you are answering it correctly. So if it says tick 1, then tick 1. If it says choose true or false, you choose either true or false for each one of those questions. And don't forget to have all of this uploaded onto Tapestry by 4 o'clock, please.